one.
The errant pass. He had a nice stick check of Steve Hoff. Roy Simmons says the Gate brothers don't just score, they're outstanding between the restraining lines, and we saw a little bit of that.
Well, they're big, powerful guys as we look at Roy Simmons Jr. There he is. What a 3-year period he's had with these two bona fide stars on his team. But these guys are big, Eric. They're like 6'2", 210, tight end type dimensions.
Bresci with a nice feed ahead to Chip Mayer and the Tar Heels to work offensively. Nice stick check there from behind by David Patain, number 24.
And he got him just in time because Chip Mayer has the big cannon. Keep an eye on him, number 21 for Carolina. He's got the big shot from out front, and he was just starting to load up the gun when he got the check from behind.
Just a minute in, no score. First semifinal game of the NCAA tournament. Syracuse and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Orangemen looking for a third straight crown. They'll have to get by this team today to do that. Standing on the shot is Greg Burns, the attackman, and here's Rodney Dumpson. This guy underrated, but very rarely outplayed. Outstanding midfielder, and he got around the defenseman there, Bresci. Back to Dumpson, he scores. Rodney Dumpson, who had 2 goals in the national championship game last year, puts the Orange on the scoreboard first.
And Eric, it all started with the field conditions. We talked about how that would really dictate the pressure on a goal. And it starts with Bresci coming way out and falling down. Bresci had already fallen down, so that means Dumpson's wide open. Now watch, he comes in, he keeps coming in. Gate gives it right back to him. He's double teamed, and now all alone is Rodney, puts it right past Piazza. Look at the pressure Piazza was under. That's the kind of shots they're going to be looking at all day long because the defense is going to lose footing on this wet field. 1-0, Syracuse rather.
Rodney Dumpson's 14th goal of the year. The assist goes to Gary Gate, and that's assist number 23. And off the face-off, here's Gate. A pass over the head. That time intended for Tommy. They have the pleasure of working this Final Four contest. Orange on the scoreboard first. Rodney Dumpson, we were talking about his big contributions. Jan Desko, the assistant at Syracuse, said had Rodney gone to another school, might be a first-team All-American, but he's had the privilege of running on that midfield line with the Gates.
He's got great size and good ability. Now look at this mistake again. And again, let's go back to that one goal. Bresci fell down. Bresci was playing way up by the midfield line, gambling. He's their big defenseman. He fell down and gave Rodney the opportunity to come down and set it up. This is another mistake, an errant pass. Ball goes wide, way out of bounds, and Hasslinger couldn't find the attackman. Ball goes back to Syracuse. Those mistakes Carolina cannot afford to keep going with.
Ball skipped right by the freshman attacker, John Webster. And here come the Orangemen. Dan Cahey, this guy, a good-looking big midfielder. 6 foot, 200-pound senior out of Homer, New York. Orangemen lead it 1-0, looking for more on the wind-up and goal. That is Greg Burns. The senior scores his 31st goal. And with 12:30 left in the opening quarter, it's the Orangemen 2, the Tar Heels nothing.
Burns was just parked right out high on the crease. They got the ball to him, and that's the key. You might see him high on the crease as the ball comes down to Egan. He takes it, sets up the offense. Now watch the Carolina Blue come into the crease, but leave him high. See how high he is out there? The defense was coming underneath him. One man was lower for Syracuse. That drew the attention, left him wide open. Burns gets the second goal. You can't leave a guy with his ability open in front of the goal. He's got a tremendous amount of goals this year, and Eric, a lot of it is because the focus the other players on the attack draw.
Now, Burns had 2 goals in the regular season game against North Carolina. Scores his 31st of the year here in this opening quarter. And the assist to Jimmy Egan. Nice feed from behind. 19th assist this year for Egan. Orange have been dominant on the faceoff so far. This time Brian Kelly, well, he had a beat on it, the Tar Heel defenseman, but up with it, Paul Gate for Syracuse. The behind-the-back pass, intercepted.
Beautiful job by Paul Gate, trying to get it behind his back. That's not a showboat move. They are so skilled that that's just a normal pass for the Gate brothers.
Joe Bresci leading the fast break, and here comes Hasslinger again into the box. And the pass again, errant. That time, looked like Dennis Goldstein took his eye off it. Good pass, went right through the stick.
Well, he did take his eye off it. He was looking for AC. AC's over there on the far pipe, and that's where he was going to feed the ball. And just like any other sport, you take your eye off it, you're not going to make the catch. And 2 big mistakes on the only opportunities for possession. Carolina keeps giving the ball back to Syracuse. That might put them in a big hole early.
The Orangemen lead it 2-0. 11.5 minutes left, first quarter. Here's Tommy Marachek, sophomore out of Victoria, British Columbia. Had a great freshman year last season. This year has 29 goals, so not much of a drop-off for Marachek. Number 22, Gary Gate, warding off. And the defense that time by Brooks Matthews, who played him well.
And he was also getting help from the short stick midfielder, so it was a double team situation. There's Willie Scruggs. What a tremendous record he has. He's got 3 national championships. But the defense double-teamed Gate, and he didn't elect to pass the ball, used his right arm, his off-stick arm, to push off the defender's sticks, and that's why the ball goes back to Carolina.
Chip Mayer feeding to John Webster, the freshman attackman. Behind the Goldstein, and this is Mike Acey. So all 3 attackmen finally getting their stick on it. Couple minutes in, Tar Heels trailing 2-0. Nice pass out in front. Goldstein fanned on the huff pass.
Goldstein, the guy we focused on in the stand-up, has missed 2 balls thrown to him. That would have been a good possibility, high probability of a goal right in front of Palem. He missed it again.
Push without possession against the Tar Heels. Possession over to Syracuse. You know, we've talked all about Roy Simmons Jr. looking to become the first coach to win 4 NCAA Division I lacrosse titles. Willie Scruggs in the same position. His Tar Heels have won it 3 times.
And every time they get to the championship game, they don't lose. They're 3-0 once they get that far.
At Palem on the outlet pass. This is Ricky Kramer, a sophomore. He did not participate last year, so he missed the national championship for Syracuse. 2-0 lead for the Orange. 10:20 left in the first quarter. And this is Jimmy Egan, who assisted on that last goal. Egan being defended by Graham Harden. Well, here's Maricek, and they say this guy one of the best inside finishers in lacrosse. He draws the double team, loses the ball.
Great double team by Carolina. They got to get possession, though, and Syracuse comes right back.
You know, we said Cahey was a big rough kid. He took a hit, then gave one back, and Joe Bonacci comes up with it. Second midfield group on now for Syracuse. The Gate brothers getting a rare rest.
Both teams, the captains or the coaches say they'll run as many as 3 midfields, but in reality, they like to keep their first 2 units on there. So many areas to focus on down here, Eric. The offense for Syracuse is absolutely scary.
And this is Jim Egan. He's been the quarterback. Did not start last year after a big sophomore season. He's come through as a senior.
And he's got a short stick on him right now. Carolina's putting a long stick out on the Gate boys, and right now he's going against a short stick midfielder, and that's why he wanted to take it to the hoop.
Was going against Chip Mayer, and this is Dan Cahey. Back it goes to Egan. Of course, the new rules have speeded up the game, but once you get into the attack zone, the box, you can take your time with it. Egan out in front, deflected in. Was scored by Tommy Maricek on the Egan toss out in front. Like a quick stick play in hockey, Tommy Maricek gets on the scoreboard. Orangemen lead it 3-0.
Well, Maricek puts it over by Piazza, and I tell you what, this kid better get his game together because Piazza, I don't think, has made a save yet. 3 shots, 3 goals. Let's look at this offense set up now. Maricek is really parked on the right in front of the goal on the right side. Egan comes in against a short stick, gets a lot of time, and just forces it into Maricek. And it gets just pushed right by. Now, this is a little bit earlier, and watch the pushing and hitting down along the crease area. The ball was on the ground. Carolina double team there. You saw it double teamed, Eric, but they did not get possession of the ball. That's the critical aspect of a double team. You get the ball on the ground, but you've got to get possession and get it back in the offensive field.
3 goals for the Orangemen, Leaf, and 3 different goal scorers.
Well, we're talking about the focus areas. You don't know where to look. They've got so many guys that can finish and score on you. And Carolina continues to look rough. They are not smooth down there. They look very nervous on the offensive end.
Here, turnover, it turns into a turnover. And the Orange look to break it out and fast break again. And how about the start? 3 different goals scored for Syracuse, and the Gate brothers don't have a piece of the action just yet. The wind-up and Maricek's shot stopped shoulder high by Andy Piazza.
Great save by Piazza, and that's got to make him feel good. It'll get that defense a little bit of an anchor position, a little bit settled down. Now let's see if the offense can carry the ball for maybe a minute or 2. Just get some good possession and some good passes.
Tar Heels haven't done much on this end. 8 minutes to play, first quarter. 3-0 Syracuse. Second midfield group on. This is Jimmy Busick with a shot, goes just wide of Matt Palem. Possession stays with North Carolina. Dennis Goldstein, closest man to it. Goldstein, Acey, and Webster, the high-scoring attack trio for Willie Scruggs.
And the Gate midfield's on there. You've got Gary on, Paul's on the sideline with a long stick taking his place, and Dumpson's there. So they can blow out of this defensive stance and really get some offense going because they still have Gary and Dumpson on the field.
Dan Donnelly sends it behind to Goldstein. You know, Goldstein was really held in check by McCabe in the game at the Carrier Dome. Just had a goal and an assist in that one.
That's probably why he's nervous. Watch McCabe play him. McCabe doesn't just play defense. He wants to take the ball away.
First penalty marker down, and the shot by Goldstein saved. But the Tar Heels will go up a man. 7:12 left, first quarter. Syracuse leads the Tar Heels 3-0. When we return to Rutgers, man up for North Carolina. This one on Carolina without possession, so the ball goes to Syracuse. What do you think of the early going, Lee Felsmo? 3-zip Orangemen.
Well, no surprise that their offense is going to be in high gear. The surprise is that the Carolina team really looks unsettled, and their offense can't hold on to the ball. They've really got to take advantage of their opportunities. Goldstein definitely rattled by the play and the dominance of McCabe earlier on in the season.
Mike AC right at the end line, able to scoop it up. If you're just joining us, the Gate brothers have not scored yet, although Gary did assist on Rodney Dumpson's opening goal.
Teams are even strength right now. That extra man play over.
John Webster, nice feed out in front. Shot goes wide. Eric Saramet, a sophomore from the Syracuse area, Camillus, New York, went to West Genesee High School, one of the real lacrosse powerhouses in central New York.
Well, he's a good-looking player for Carolina, and you know he'd like to do well against the hometown Syracuse boys.
Goldstein got close, but couldn't put it past Palem.
Tough shot when you come back, when you roll back to the inside, take away your angle. That's what he did. He had a chance for a shot, but he went back with a right-handed shot, which gave him little or no angle. Palem, easy save.
Notice how the defenseman Holbrook slipped in, and we get penalty markers at midfield. John Webster with a slash. He really took a whack at Andy Bolin.
Now, when you're bringing it up the field, you can't push from behind or hit the head. And right there, a little bit of both. As it looks like it'll be an extra man situation for Syracuse. And boy, you talk about scary times. If you're a goalie, Piazza right now has to face this extra man offense. Look at the success they've had.
Operating at nearly 50%. And on the trip, they'll be up a man for a minute. With 5.5 left in this first quarter, a deflected ball into the net. A goal. Quicker than the eye can see.
And very hard to follow. That was a pass coming all the way across the plane of goal, but it didn't get there. Somebody knocked it down. And look at Carolina. They are really stunned. They're active sticks right here. You can look at them. They try to block the feed down. They blocked the feed down, but it went in for a goal.
Flash. He really took a whack at Andy Bolin.
Now, when you're bringing it up the field, you can't push from behind or hit the head. And right there, a little bit of both. As it looks like it'll be an extra man situation for Syracuse. And boy, you talk about scary times. If you're a goalie, Piazza right now has to face this extra man offense. Look at the success they've had.
Operating at nearly 50%. And on the trip, they'll be up a man for a minute. With 5.5 left in this first quarter, a deflected ball into the net. A goal. Quicker than the eye can see.
And very hard to follow. That was a pass coming all the way across the plane of goal, but it didn't get there. Somebody knocked it down. And look at Carolina. They are really stunned. They're active sticks right here. You can look at them. They try to block the feed down. They blocked the feed down, but it went in for a goal. Very tough here for the Carolina team. Down 4-0 now. This was going to be a feed. Watch, all the way across, knocked down by the defense, goes right in behind Piazza. And what about that? 3-0 before that. Now it's 4-0, and they are digging a huge hole in the first quarter.
I think they'll give the goal to Egan. The assist to Greg Burns. That may have bounced off a North Carolina body out in front. You could see by the expression of Tar Heel goaltender Andy Piazza, it has not gone well here in the first quarter for North Carolina. They trail it 4-zip.
He needs to get some more easy saves to get himself comfortable in the defensive end of the field. The defense, really not him in particular, not saving much. But if you look at Scroggs, I think Willie right now is more concerned about his offense. You know Syracuse is going to score goals. You hope it wouldn't be this fast, but you've got to score some goals to counter that offense.
By the way, Leaf, they're giving that last Syracuse goal to Greg Burns, the senior from Fayetteville, New York. Already has 2 goals in the first quarter, which has 5 minutes left in it. Orange ahead 4-zip. Our Heels need a score to start feeling good about things.
And they need somebody to step up on the offensive end of the field. Look at AC. He misses everything that comes to him. This whole offense is rattled by the aggressive defense of Syracuse.
AC gets by Holbrook. Pass out, top of the box. The shot deflected. And Donald McNichol had his shot sticked aside.
Patane came out beautifully. Long stick player there for Syracuse. Just took the shot right in the stick, and the stomach didn't matter. Bounces it out, saves his goalie from making the big save.
Very few quality shot opportunities here in the first quarter for the Tar Heels.
Very few quality catch and throws.
Hey, there's one. Chip Mayer.
Well, Eric, we talked about the big guy, and Mayer's the guy. Out in front, he's got about the hardest shot on the North Carolina team. Number 21. He'll shoot from either hand. He comes in with the left hand this time, but Syracuse will not let this guy get too many shots from out front. Watch this. He gets into a real good shot position and then just burns the left-hander right inside the pipe. And Palem, you can see the right leg push out. Watch the footing on Palem. The right leg sort of spins out to the right. He really couldn't plant it. 4-1.
23rd goal of the year for Chip Mayer. He puts the Tar Heels on the scoreboard with 4:28 left in the first quarter. Back here at Rutgers Stadium, Eric Reed and Lee Felsmo. We've got a 4-1 lead for Syracuse with 4:20 left. First quarter of play.
And Syracuse has controlled the faceoff. They've won 5 out of 7, Eric.
Out in front, the turn and the score by Jimmy Egan. Boy, it's been a big first quarter for the Syracuse attack. Egan makes it 5-1 Orange.
Well, Piazza doesn't know what's hitting him. He's just getting bombarded from shots right in his face. And look at him. He needs to get some shots from a little farther out, but Syracuse is just pushing it right down the throat. They win yet another faceoff, push it into the crease. Egan turns and fires it right past Piazza. He can't be really focused for the lack of defense down there, Eric, because look at Egan right there. But the defense is giving Syracuse too many shots right in front of goalie Piazza.
Egan already with 3 points. That's his first goal. The assist to Paul Gate. And the face-off victories for Syracuse really fueling their fire right now, Lee.
So 6 for 8 on face-offs.
Paul Gate out in front. Was saved that time. And a rebound score.
Maricek.
Burns was denied, but Tommy Maricek there for the offensive rebound tip-in.
Absolutely, and boy, is it coming apart quick for Piazza. We'll have to watch what Carolina does. They really don't want to go to the bench and get him out of there. They want to get him confident. Watch how this sets up. Yet another face-off win. Immediate possession for Syracuse. It's unsettled on the defensive end of the field. This is a good save by Piazza, but he doesn't get control. And Maricek comes in and just a little slap check, puts it right underneath of Piazza.
Makes it Syracuse 6.
This is, again, a save by Piazza. And then he tries to get his footing, can't get it. Maricek is the first to the ball. Another mistake by Carolina, not getting to that ball. If the goalie can't get it into control, the defense has to help him out.
That was a big ground ball sweep for Maricek, his second goal of the game. And Syracuse scores 2 goals in 15 seconds.
Well, you know, they did a very similar type of offensive push against Brown. They came right out, which was their last playoff game. They came out of the box and scored so quickly with Brown, they never were into the game. Doing very similar here as far as the offensive end of the field. Syracuse scary on offense.
Orange eliminated Don Starzia's Brown Bruins 20-12 at the Carrier Dome in the quarterfinals. So far, Matt Palem really been up to the task in the Syracuse goal.
Well, I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said he really hasn't been tested, and he hasn't. They hadn't had that many good shots on Palem, and that will be critical for Carolina. They need to get some good, solid, long possessions and good shots.
As you look at it from the end zone, Cahey throws a heater high and wide. 3 minutes, 4 seconds left. First quarter, 6-1 Syracuse over North Carolina. There's a look at Tommy Maricek, just a sophomore. His star will certainly rise next year when the Gate brothers have gone on other things. Tar Heels get a possession here. Big move by Goldstein, has the step, but misses the cage.
Oh, and Palem was bent backwards. Let's see if he's all right. He got bent all the way backwards on his legs. Don't forget that right knee is wrapped heavily. Arthroscopic surgery within 6 weeks of this game. And boy, he's still up on his feet. Great play by Goldstein, though. He comes in, beats the defense. Watch him protect the stick. He keeps it right between his elbows so that you cannot make a check on it. Comes in and couldn't quite get it past Palem. And look at that. Palem bent all the way back on his legs. That's the kind of conversion you really need to get, Eric. A great play by Goldstein, but it didn't convert for a goal. They're down by 5, still in the first quarter. They can turn this game around, but you want to go ahead and take care of those opportunities when you get them.
Well, you've been saying that Syracuse gives you the opportunities, but is the opponent good enough to take advantage? And so far this afternoon, the answer's been no for the Tar Heels.
They really look uncharacteristically afraid on offense almost. They're not controlling and not handling the ball, and you got to credit that to the aggressive defense of Syracuse. It makes you think twice.
Here's Jimmy Egan setting things up behind the cage. Egan actually attended Cornell University for a semester. Had problems with his financial aid package, wound up at Syracuse.
Carolina will throw some zones at you. Right now they're in a man-to-man. I don't know that earlier on they weren't in a zone. That could have been some of their problems. But right here they're trying to go man-to-man against the great Syracuse offense.
Brian Kelly able to get it to his goaltender, Andy Piazza, who is much steadier than this first quarter would indicate. Here's Steve Huff, big midfielder, into the box. Looking to wind up, now loses the ball.
Well, he had a chance there to, you know, when you come down on a fast break like that, you either have to take a shot or get it to somebody else to take a shot. And Huff got all wrapped up and confused on what he wanted to do with the ball. Another opportunity just absolutely thrown away by Carolina. That is something, though, Eric, that you can turn around. This is a streaky game. Piazza makes a couple good saves. The defense gets settled. The offense starts getting things in gear, and this can be still a tight game. There's a lot of time left.
Minute 30 to play in this first quarter. Tar Heels trail at 6-1 as John Webster goes to work. Nice feed, the wind up on the shot. Saved by Palem. Eric Ceramit denied.
Sensational save by Palem. He had to really read it to see whether he was going to shoot high or low. When he shot low, Palem just put his two ankles together, made the save.
Well, Palem 38-2 in his Syracuse career, unbeaten in 7 career playoff games.
You can't argue with that. People don't tend to give him as much credit as maybe he would get if he wasn't on such a great team. But the guy, his record stands for itself. When he wants to put that win in the win column, he's there to help.
Tar Heels looking to control and score here in the final minute of the first quarter. Mike Acey with a nice move. Acey out in front. The shot denied. Steve Spears with a quick stick.
Again, a ground ball.
McCabe.
I'm sorry, Eric, the ground ball opportunity. Carolina really has to get those. They've got to jump all over those ground ball situations and get possession. They're giving it back to Syracuse, and you want to keep the ball off the offensive end of the field because Syracuse is so dangerous.
First quarter time winding down. Orangemen winding up. They lead at 6-1. Here's Rodney Thompson. That shot stopped easily by Piazza.
And that's one that feels good for Piazza. That's the kind of saves you need to start feeling good about your defense. Let's see if they can put one away with 10 seconds left.
Freshman Donald McNichol inside for the windup, but Steve Spears' shot trickles wide with 5 seconds left in the quarter. We do have a penalty marker just inside Carolina's half of midfield.
Looks like it'll be against Syracuse. Technical foul, offsides, I would guess, which would give Carolina another extra man. Now with 5 seconds left, Eric, what they want to do is hold on to the ball so that when the quarter expires, they will get possession for the start of the second quarter. If the ball's even just in the air on a pass, it'll have to be face-off.
Penalty was against Paul Gate on a push. Dennis Goldstein holds the ball, and we will go to the second quarter. North Carolina will be a man up for 25 seconds, but the Orangemen lead it after one, 6-1 here at Rutgers. Eric Reed with Lee Felsmo. The Tar Heels trailing 8-2, but looking a little bit more like themselves here in the second period of play.
Well, the rain stopped a little bit. They're a little more of a transition mode, which has the players just sort of forgetting about all the intensity of being a national championship semifinal. They look more relaxed.
Ricky Kramer on the feed to Joe Bonacci, and Bonacci lights the lamp. A Navy transfer sinks Syracuse's 9th goal past Andy Piazza. The Orangemen lead it by 7. Joe Bonacci with his 14th goal of the year.
Well, it's a heartbreaker. Ezeki was in there, the long sticks defender. Watch Ezeki come from the left. The ball comes into him. Now Ezeki comes in, slips. You see Ezeki fall down, and it didn't quite knock Bonacci over. He had enough contact that he thought he would have lost possession, but he didn't. Got a good shot on Piazza, and today a good shot means a goal against him. He's not having a great day. Bonacci goes down, but as he does, fires a pass. Piazza, who is not getting good footing. You might have seen Piazza sort of slide out to the right. Anytime the goalie goes east and west on that crease, Eric, he's having a tough time. The footing just isn't there.
Well, Bonacci had 2 goals in the quarterfinal victory against the Bears of Brown University, and he scores here this afternoon against North Carolina. So a 7-goal lead for Syracuse. They've been in control right from the start. That time Paul Gates' pass goes astray. The Tar Heels will take possession.
If you're a Carolina fan, you're hoping that at 9-2 with most of the second quarter left, Syracuse will sort of lose their focus. At the same time, Carolina gets in gear, and with a run of maybe 3 goals, you're back in this game.
Tar Heels feel they may have an edge with their depth at the midfield, try to wear Syracuse down.
Well, another thing we haven't talked about, Eric, is this grass field. You know, Syracuse is an AstroTurf field. Carolina is better suited for grass, and that'll really show up more in the third and fourth quarter. Your legs get a little heavier. You're not quite used to running. You think you're putting out the same amount of energy, but you're actually burning up a lot more, and that'll show up fourth quarter.
AC out to Donald McNichol, the freshman out of Oceanside, New York, getting a lot of first half run here. Here's AC. He scored Carolina's last goal. Waits for you from the end zone. Chip Mayer trying to spin away from David Patain, the long stick midi.
Mayer's got the big gun. They like to work him out front. Inverted now.
And one-on-one, pass out in front, intended for Goldstein, goes by him. But Steve Huff picks it up. Big senior out of St. James, New York. Well, they need Goldstein to get on track, the Tar Heels do. He gets inside and goes wide with a shot. They'll keep possession. AC right there on the end line.
Not a bad offensive series. Goldstein came in, pushed McCabe to the limit. McCabe likes to gamble, and they really haven't taken advantage of that yet. But McCabe will make a gamble. He'll let you beat him and go over your head, try to check you from behind. I think Goldstein, with a few more possessions and a little bit more confidence, can go ahead and take advantage of that.
This is Andy Dunkerton, senior out of Baltimore, Maryland, gets the step. The shot saved easily by Palin. Put it right on the numbers.
You might notice that Palin's making these saves standing straight up for the most part. You've got to make that goalie go east-west on this muddy field, and that's what Syracuse is doing a great job of. Piazza doesn't know where he is. He's moving left and right. He's not getting good footing. Palin, on the other hand, is he's tracking the offense easier, not moving left and right, and making the good saves.
Just under 8 minutes left, second quarter. Syracuse leading North Carolina in this semifinal matchup, 9-2. But it's 6-1 after one period. And they scored the first 4 goals of the ball game. Barry Gate working. This is his twin brother, Paul. Gate brothers have simply revolutionized the sport of lacrosse with their creative and explosive style. Here's Marichek, comes free and scores. Great individual effort by Tommy Marichek.
You forget about how great this Marichek is because of the presence of Gary and Paul Gate. He is also a Canadian that has the great box skills. You're going to see some hints of the box skills here. Bresci falls down. The wet turf again a factor. Here comes Marichek. Watch the box fake. Up high, pulls it back, plants Piazza low, and then goes high. Tremendous offensive skills, and they come from Canadian Box League. Again, sets high, sets low, and blows it right past him in the upper left-hand corner.
3 first-half goals for the sophomore Tommy Marichek. The Orange with a commanding 8-goal lead. Canadian with 4:14 left, second quarter. The Orange onslaught resulting in a 12-2 lead. North Carolina looking to get some momentum before halftime. And it's Goldstein fanning on the shot, actually going wide with it, gets it back, and this time fans on the shot. Now Syracuse led it 6-1 after one. They advanced that to 8-1. Mike Acey's goal for North Carolina made it 8-2, and been 4 unanswered goals for the Orange since, and nearly another there.
That's one of those saves I was talking about that can really do Piazza a lot of good. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. It'd be great for Carolina to get a goal or 2 going into the halftime with a little bit of structure to their offense and defense.
Well, Piazza's had a rough first half, making a nice stop on Rob Persing's bid, giving the Tar Heels another chance for offense. And here's the freshman John Webster, who's had a great first year. He's at a boys Latin High in Baltimore. Soft shot goes high over the cage and will be picked up by Joe Bedell.
John Winship just eating him up as we look at Willie Scroggs. The young kid is getting a lot of pressure from Winship from the Syracuse defense.
Mike Acey getting the half step, then turned back by Eric Holbrook, number 43.
This whole Carolina, the whole Carolina attack will be back next year, Eric, including Mike Thomas, who's redshirted this year, who is probably their best player.
Here's Chip Mayer, nice pass out in front. Goldstein unable to put the shot on cage, try to go behind his back. Matt Palin stopped nearly everything that's come his way.
He's had a lot of help defensively, and the offense for Carolina just not getting it in gear.
Here's Paul Gate. Out in front. Nice quick stick by Egan. Comes up a little shy. Piazza with the save, and his outlet intercepted by Paul Gate.
Two good saves by Piazza.
There's Gary Gate, and Piazza comes up with a third nice stop.
And that's a good, comforting thing for Piazza. He's got those 3 saves now to make him feel more comfortable, but Carolina has to turn it into a good shot and a goal. They're not able to do it.
Andy Piazza, we had heard about the young man that he throws one of the best outlet passes in the country. He's had problems with that and other things as well today.
Look at that, just picked off that one. Piazza really getting into his game, Eric. That really is a good sign for the defense of Carolina, and with 1:50 left, they really, if they could pull a goal here, get a score, they would feel good, believe it or not, being down 12-3.
1:47 left, first half. Syracuse leads by 10. Defending champion Syracuse really been dominant this afternoon. They lead North Carolina 12-2, and some felt, Lee Felsmo, that the Tar Heels had the best shot of any team here at the Final Four of beating Syracuse.
Yeah, and I was one of those, and I tell you what, Syracuse has made it look pretty easy. Nobody can doubt their ability, but nobody thought that it would possibly be this easy. And you got to say, there's still a lot of time left. It would be hard to believe, though, that Syracuse wouldn't be really in the catbird seat right now and just carry this thing out.
Here's number 14, Greg Burns. He's had a big first half, missing wide there. And Tommy Marichek, his attack partner, has also had an explosive first half. Marichek, 3 goals and an assist. Burns, 3 and 2. And there's another goal for Gary Gate. Gary Gate scoring his 3rd goal of the contest. 13-2 Orange.
Oh, that's why this guy is first-team All-American. He's the best at his position, along with his brother, but he's a little bit of a step ahead of Paul. The moves here are just textbook Gary Gate. He comes in one-on-one. Nobody can handle him. He makes a big fake, scores a high, hard shot.
5 unanswered goals for Syracuse here in the second quarter. Back here at Rutgers Stadium, final minute, first half. A half been dominated by the defending champions. And Cahey had it sticked away. Tar Heels will try to get a shot on goal, trailing 13-2 with 40 seconds remaining second quarter.
Eric, people have asked Roy Simmons Jr. if this is possibly the best team ever in lacrosse. He says, yes, I can entertain that thought. When you see a game like today, you see the reasons why.
Busick comes in tight, but is stopped by Palem, and he may have gone in the crease. Earlier on, a penalty marker down, offsides at midfield. There's Roy Simmons Jr. looking to become the first coach in NCAA lacrosse history to win 4 NCAA titles.
Find that penalty here. He beats the man first, comes in for the shot, and it was a slash as he came in. It was before we picked up the action, but they'll have an extra man here with 23 seconds left. Would love to get a score.
On the Egan offsides, the Tar Heels will try to put one on goal with 18 seconds left in the quarter. They get a good shot, and they do get the score. Off the stick of sophomore Mike Acey, who has 2 goals in the period for the Tar Heels.
Well, they definitely needed that one. Piazza looking a little bit better late in the second period. Now they get a little bit of offense. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to stop the freight train offense for Syracuse, but this is an extra man opportunity. I believe it's their 4th, and it's their first score, so they really need to put this baby in the net. Acey does that. We'll take a look right here. They've got an extra man now, so they have 5 against 4 or 6 against 5 people. Acey just takes it, aims accurately. Palem thought he had it covered, and that's the way you do it on extra man.
A hard, low shot for Mike Acey. We said that young man took advantage of his opportunities. Paul Gate looking to put it on goal in the final seconds of the second quarter. Well, is there hope for North Carolina? Andy Piazza settling down. They still trail by 10, and that's what they'll look at as they go to the dressing room at halftime.
They got to throw this first half away, go in there and just regroup, try some different things, and hope Syracuse relaxes a little bit.
Well, that's it. First half in the books. A memorable one for Syracuse. One certainly to forget for Willie Scroggs and his North Carolina Tar Heels. Orange led it 6-1 after 1. They lead it by 10 here. Consecutive NCAA title. Eric Reed with Lee Felsmo. And Leaf, I guess the biggest surprise is how big the lead is at this point.
Yes, and the fact that Carolina's only scored 3 goals. Carolina has really taken themselves out of their offense, or out of any offense. They just haven't looked sharp. They haven't been catching the ball, passing the ball, and getting good shots against Palem. 3 players on the Syracuse team right now are tied with Carolina. 3 players have a hat trick. It's Marichek,
and Burns.
Absolutely.
And right now, a circling of the wagon for North Carolina. We'll come back here to Rutgers, take a look at our halftime stats, get our second half face-off. The NCAA semifinals here on ESPN. Stadium. The fans that have piled in have seen a real impressive show for the Syracuse Orangemen, defending champions, with 6 goals in the first, 7 in the second quarter. And here at halftime, they lead it 13-3 over a stunned North Carolina Tar Heel group. Lee Felsmo, let's take a look at our first half stats. We'll see if they show the dominance by Syracuse.
Well, shots, for look at that, UNC actually ahead, but that shows you the quality of shots. Just not there for Carolina. Faceoffs dominated by Syracuse, which turns into possessions. And, of course, when you give that great team a possession, they've scored 13 goals on 24 shots. They're shooting great accuracy, high percentage shots. Ground balls, not too much of a difference there. Not much of a factor at this point. Clears, again, not much of a factor because nobody's really caring about taking the ball away on this wet field. Extra man, finally Carolina on their last extra man opportunity put the ball in the net. Look at Syracuse, 2 for 2. So the bottom line, Eric, is that when Syracuse gets an opportunity to get a shot off, they get a high quality shot and they're putting it past Piazza. North Carolina has not gotten any kind of settled, consistent offense.
Mike Acey getting 2 goals in the first half. But Leaf, what does North Carolina have to do to get back in this game? They trail by 10.
They're going to keep Syracuse out of the offense, out of the goal. That may be impossible to do. Syracuse is just one of the great teams of all time. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina came out and got into a tight zone, packed it in, really protected Piazza a little bit, made Syracuse shoot from the outside, see if Piazza can get his game together. And then in the offense, they really have to just do the things they've done all year, which they didn't do in the first half, which is good quality possessions, move the ball well. They've got a lot of guys that can score. They're just not playing their game on the offensive end.
Is Roy Simmons marching toward a 3rd consecutive national championship? Looks that way. We'll find out when we return to Rutgers Stadium for the second half of this semifinal game at Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, right after this. With Lee Felsmo, I'm Eric Reed. Welcome back. Second half of our semifinal matchup between North Carolina and Syracuse. The Tar Heels get possession first. They need to put some balls in the net past Matt Palem, who was rock solid in the first half.
They had a chance there. Excellent face-off opportunity, which they didn't have much of in the first half. They came down. Acey had a chance to get a shot off, but McCabe, that great defenseman for Syracuse, took it away.
Here's Gary Gate, double team, pops it up, gets it back, and shoots it wide. Little display of the strength and stamina for Gary Gate.
Well, you're not kidding. That was his offhand. They're predominantly left-handed, but that was his right hand. One-handed shoveled that ball by Piazza at about 40 miles an hour.
Nice one-handed catch there by Burns. Gets it over to Egan. Well, the attack unit's been just short of sensational here in the ball game for Syracuse. Egan, Burns, and Marachek. They get an infraction against the Orangemen.
I think he called holding the ball against Egan. And the ball goes to Carolina. Carolina, right off the bat, looks a lot more aggressive, Eric. It looks like they're really challenging everything. They have to get the ball. They need possessions. When you're down by 10, you have little option, but to really push the tempo, get possessions, and take a lot of shots.
And here comes Dan Donnelly, sophomore midi from Smithtown, New York.
He's got a great stick. He's got a stick a lot like the Gates in that it looks like a Canadian cradle. He can go behind the head, behind the back.
Shot on Palem, stop. Jim Busick with the delivery.
And not much of a challenge against Palem. Didn't make a move, east and west. Just went down, picked up a nice low shot. You can see they filled in the mud in front of the goal areas. And if you're going to shoot low, you better shoot that thing with a lot of velocity. And that last shot did not have the great velocity that would make it effective on this turf.
Heavy downpour all morning. It is lightened to just a drizzle. You could see where Matt Palem and Andy Piazza have been calling home. A little bit messy. But in short, this is a miserable day here in New Jersey.
Tell us what you really think, Eric, about the day. It actually is very biting. It's a biting, wet, cold. Out there, I'm sure the players are not really affected by it. Once you start running around, it probably is a little bit of a good condition as long as it's not too wet.
Steve Huff had the step but lost the ball.
You know, Huff is a guy we haven't heard much from today, and he took over late in the season for this Carolina team, and one of the guys with the ability to help this team come back. You've got to hear something from Steve Huff if they're going to have a chance.
He had 17 goals on the year, Huff did, including 4 in their quarterfinal rout of Harvard. Well, let's see what kind of half Andy Piazza is going to have. The North Carolina netminder, he was dismantled in that first half of play.
Tough day for goalies, but when you have a great offense like Syracuse, you better get help from your defense. He hasn't had the help.
Paul Gate out in front to Marachek, and a good stop by Andy Piazza.
Took it right in the belly, and he had a good chance to save that one. Was in a great position.
Marachek was point blank. Here's Brian Kelly, the defenseman, winding up. Palem the one knee for the stop. And a nice outlet pass ahead. This is Paul Gate. In between two, he gets the step. Nice pass by Gate, and a score for Syracuse.
Textbook Syracuse.
With a great assist, Jim Egan with the finish.
Absolutely perfect, Eric, and that's what they've been doing all year. What sensational athletes the Gate brothers are. There's Paul. They feed and shoot behind the neck, behind the back, as easily as they do forward. Now watch this. He doesn't go to his left. He just goes right around his head to Egan, and that makes Piazza slide over, and nobody's playing defense against Egan because nobody thought he'd make the play. There's Egan sliding in. The defense moves from Egan out to get Gate, and then Egan's all by himself by Piazza. I got to say, for Piazza's defense, as we look at Jim Egan, that he really has had a lot of those shots right on top of him that even Palem, nobody would be saving those shots. The defense has really let him down today.
Well, Egan had 2 goals in the quarterfinals against Brown, 2 the first time these clubs met in March, and 2 more goals today. Tar Heels with a penalty marker down, don't convert. Webster's shot sails wide, but North Carolina will have a man advantage.
Eric, in a couple minutes, I'm going to start checking the record books to see what the highest scoring game is as we look at the sideline for Syracuse. This is an offensive machine. There's Egan. You've got to see what the most scores ever in a semifinal game.
Well, you think these guys don't love playing with the Gate brothers? True, they've gotten the national publicity, but they have showed lacrosse fans today how truly unselfish players they are.
And, you know, there's a lot of great players on the Syracuse team besides the Gate brothers, and that's going to really be defined next year once they leave. We'll just see how good the Syracuse team is without them, but I suspect they're going to be right there. A lot of great athletes on Syracuse team.
Well, they've been lighting it up this afternoon. Under gray skies in Piscataway, New Jersey, they lead 14-3 over a North Carolina team that had won 5 straight and 10 of 11 coming in. Webster with a step, makes a pretty good check, holds on. Here's Dennis Goldstein, nice spin, and Palem with another wonderful save.
Well, they're trying to get a good shot. That was a man-up situation, I believe, and the fact is you don't go one-on-one in a man-up situation. The penalty is now over, but they had their chances. Webster, Eric, went one-on-one when you really want to move the ball and find the open guy because he's out there somewhere. You're starting with 6 players on 5.
Matt Moore brought it into the box. Marachek's feed, nice catch by Gate behind the back and well wide on that occasion. There, Human.
Yep, tried to wrap it around his neck and just went, didn't pull it far enough. He had a guy checking from behind. Here's the crowd huddled closely trying to get warm.
Yes, weather like this breeds togetherness.
Hasn't turned away too many people, though. A good crowd here for the championship. Last year, a record crowd, so that's what they're aiming at, 23 and change, 23,000.
Here comes Gary Gate. A little air Gate action. And they say no in the crease. Well, the move he has made famous from behind, leaping midair and flipping it in backhanded. That time, Gary Gate came down in the crease.
Little inside roll. Watch, he'll get pressure on the defense, so he'll inside roll. Here's the pressure. Inside roll, dives across, and goes in. Actually, that was a good goal. It should have counted. The referee thought he was in the crease, but they don't have the benefit of replay. That baby should have counted. Gary Gate should have been on the board.
Would have been his 4th goal. There's a near miss by Donald McNichol. The freshman bounced it just a tad wide. 10:40 left, 3rd quarter, 14-3, Syracuse.
Tough way to play, Syracuse. Down by 11. It's hard to believe. This team is just so explosive, and this is what every coach fears when they go against them.
Boy, that time Chip Mayer had the step, missed the shot, and we get a penalty flag. Going to be a hold on Syracuse, and a man-up bid for North Carolina coming up.
They need to take advantage of these. Obviously, when you get the chance at the extra man, you've got to punch it in there. When you're down by 11, goals are critical. You've got to go ahead and march back. So you figure 11 goals here. If they can pick up maybe 3 or 4 to the good, that's where they want to be coming to the 4th quarter.
John Winship called on the hold. Hasn't been much to worry on that Syracuse sideline about. Orange lead by 11. You know, they average over 20 goals a game, limit their opponents to under 10.
So the margin of victory is about 11 goals, which would be an NCAA record if it holds.
Goldstein on the assist, but goal scored by Joe Bedell, a young man from the Syracuse area, Fayetteville, New York. Just a sophomore, gets his 15th goal of the year, and it's now a 10-goal lead for the Orange, 14-4.
It looks pretty easy, but this is what they can do and haven't done the whole first half. Bedell comes in, they have Goldstein with possession behind, and just put it right in the goal, making Palem move.
Sign of life for North Carolina. They trail by 10, 10-10 left, 3rd quarter. Back at Rutgers after this. North Carolina brings them to within 10. And by the way, that assist for Dennis Goldstein, his first point of the ball game.
He was definitely rattled in the first half of the game, and that really hurt the offense for Carolina. If he settles down, they may have a chance. I would say going into the fourth quarter to have a chance, they've got to be within 6 of Syracuse.
Here comes Paul Gate, one-on-one. Nice stop by Piazza. Rebound, score. Gary Gate. Well, a twin killing for Syracuse. Familiar tune.
Eric, nobody's going to stop this team today. This team is unbelievable. You've got the Gates up here at full speed. Marichek's. Watch how they do this. They come down, all the pressure on one, bounces it off of Piazza, and this has been an Achilles heel for him today. Picked up by Gary, and then behind the back, off the pipe right in. Watch the pressure. 2 people on Paul, and Piazza makes a good save, but nobody gets the loose ball, no possession, and Syracuse is all over it.
Now you see it, now you don't. Goal number 4 on the afternoon for the spectacular Gary Gate. 6'2", 200 pounds, runs like a deer. Here comes Hasslinger in the Webster, over to Goldstein, now to AC. Nice pass work, doesn't result in a goal. 15-4 Syracuse.
Gary has 3 of the last 5 goals by Syracuse. His brother has 1 of those, so the Gate boys, 4 of the last 5 scores.
Trying to slam the gate on North Carolina. Goldstein goes down. Free ball to Palem, and out comes Syracuse. You know, the ability to answer back, been important all year for the Orangemen. After Joe Bedell's goal for North Carolina, took Syracuse just 18 seconds to score again. And another near score opportunity for the Orange. Brooke Chase, the senior, missing on the point-blank shot. We look at Tommy Marichek, second-team All-American as a freshman. Last year had 46 goals. And Marichek with a 3-goal first half today.
Every coach likes to get 1 or 2 good finishers, Eric, and Syracuse has about 5 of them who can really put the ball in the net, Marichek being one.
Now we just saw Rodney Dumpson go down. Dumpson scored the first goal of the day. Inside, Brooke Chase again with a point-blank bid. Piazza with a stop.
Brooke Chase, on both those shots, had himself a little bit too far behind the pipe here. Almost had no shot at all. He was camped there and got the ball, but took him out of the play by being too deep on the pipe.
Penalty marker down. North Carolina with a slash. And the Tar Heels, known as a pressing group in the full field, they really need to turn up that full field pressure to get back into this thing. They trail it by 11 goals. With 8:45 left, third quarter, it's 15-4.
And the danger in pressing the tempo is that's exactly what makes Syracuse go giddy with joy, because they love to run, and when they get the offense going, you know, it's very difficult to stop them, and you can't focus on the transition because they've got 5 or 6 guys that can finish with such great ability. I wouldn't like to be Willie Scroggs right now. Little or no answer for him.
Well, the slash was on Syracuse. Tar Heels work with the extra man. With 8.5 minutes to play, third period. They've got very little from their deep and talented midfield today. Mike Acey with a couple of goals.
Starting in a 3-3 here. Bedell got the last score. Here comes Bedell to get the ball. Oh, didn't get that far.
And as Goldstein had it stuffed back at him, Goldstein, whose older brother Tim had a great career at Cornell. Matter of fact, was the player of the year in 1987. Inside, the trigger pulled by Eric Saramet. He's had a couple good shots today, yet to find the 6x6.
That's the critical part of that. You've really got to hit the net. When you get the ball in the crease there, which they did a beautiful job of making 3 passes, getting it to Saramet, and then he misses the cage. You've got to go for the far pipe, yes, but you've got to put it in the net.
For Eric Saramet, the sophomore continues to shoot at close range. Saramet with 12 goals on the year. Here's Goldstein again from behind. Pass goes astray.
Tough pass. He tried a look-away pass and hit the crease, but it didn't work. Here goes Syracuse.
Marichek to Egan, all alone. Brooke Chase scores. Well, Brooke Chase with 2 shot opportunities that didn't go. That's his 11th goal in his last 15 shots. He has been a red-hot goal scorer for the Orange. They lead at 16-4 now.
Canadian flags, because that Canadian connection is just so absolutely explosive. Here it comes into Chase, fakes high, doesn't move Piazza at all, and then he simply puts in a high-velocity shot by Piazza. Piazza very smart and not moving at all with the fake. Watch how he doesn't even react. Doesn't react. Comes right high over him. Nobody playing defense again, and that's the key. It's Syracuse running away with the game, 16-4.
Orange absolutely have been the team that has dominated this afternoon. Start to right here. 7:25 to play, third period. Everybody getting into the act for Syracuse, Leaf.
Well, they've really risen to the occasion here. I've noticed over the last several years that Syracuse is a team that really doesn't come in sky high for these championship games, and consequently you think they're sort of underachieving. This game today looks like a game they have focused on. They're really using all their explosive ability. It's as if the Gates are saying, this is our last show. We want to go out with some style.
Well, the Gates, 2 of 13 seniors. It's a highly motivated group. And as we have seen all year long, a highly talented group as well. Steve Huff, a North Carolina midi, missing wide. Nothing's gone right for the Tar Heels this afternoon. They fell behind quickly 4-zip, trailed at 6-1 after 1, and 13-3 at halftime.
Plenty of time left, too. They can be well up into the 20s by the time this thing's over.
Donald McNichol directing it behind the cage. John Webster feeling the stick of John Winship behind, but Webster able to pick it up. Out in front, nice intercept by Andy Boland, a sophomore midi. And Boland showing some great wheels to get it into the offensive end for Syracuse.
Great job by Boland. Read the pass, kind of went back and backhanded, picked up that, intercepted that pass, and brought it down to the offensive end of the field.
Nice feed by Maricek. Another great-looking goal for Syracuse. Maricek to Greg Burns, and the attack really been sizzling for Syracuse.
Burns puts in number 17 for Syracuse. 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Piazza wants a ride home right now. Watch how they move the ball. Maricek draws attention. 3 players focused on him. Wide open across the plane of the goal. Carolina spending way too much time focusing on the man with the ball because it's always the next pass or maybe 2 passes that's burning the Carolina defense. Look at that. Right in there past Piazza. And I can't really say enough about Piazza. He's had no chance to make these saves. He's had no defensive help, and most of the shots have come within 5 yards of his front crease area.
Back to work come the Orangemen, and that shot sticked away. Donnie Gilmartin, the face-off man.
And you can see there that if you give Piazza half a chance, he's making a nice save. It's when you make 2 passes, he's all by himself with no defensive help, that it's impossible to save the ball.
We get a whistle at midfield. Our score is 17-4 Syracuse with 5:49 left in the third. Leaf, can you remember a more one-sided, important game than this one?
Hard to, no, I can't. I'm trying to go through this book here and just see if I can find one, the record book put out by the NCAA, but Syracuse came in with all the credentials. You know, everybody thought they could just take over any game they wanted to, but again, the hope was that maybe Carolina could make this a very competitive, tough game. Syracuse showing that they are one of the truly special teams in the history of the game of lacrosse.
Well, not hype, and living up their impressive reputation are the Orange on this rainy, chilly afternoon here in Piscataway, New Jersey. Now Palin taking some liberties and taking a pretty good shot near midfield. And a penalty marker down. Jimmy Busick. Pretty good check.
Well, he leveled him, and the problem with the hit was that it was high. He came in around the neck area, and that's why that yellow flag was pulled.
And the Orangemen hold the NCAA record for most goals in a game in the tournament. They had 23 in the '88 contest against Navy. And in that game, Gary Gate came up with a record 9 goals.
There's Roy Simmons Jr. He's pretty happy about that. 2 years in a row, they played Navy and absolutely just brutalized them on their way to the playoffs. Navy was unlucky 2 years in a row to draw them as they moved up the ladder.
Greg Hasslinger called for the slash. Orange with a 30-second man-up opportunity with 4:50 remaining in the third. Syracuse 2 for 2 on the man-up. Maricek, well, he made it 3 for 3 with a nice save by Piazza.
Again, Piazza, if he has a chance to make a save, is not looking too bad. It's just when his defense totally lets him down, focuses. Syracuse makes 2 passes. Piazza left all by himself with a guy 4 feet in front of him. I'm a little surprised that Carolina, Eric, hasn't gone into more of a zone and tried some zones and just some strict packeting zone. They're such an aggressive, I guess now when you're behind, the reason they don't do that is because they need possession. That's the obvious answer, because they've got to get the ball and put it in their offensive end of the field. But if they would maybe play a little bit of a half zone, half pressure or something to keep some people in front of Piazza, I think he would have had a good chance of making some saves.
Gary Gate with 4 goals on the afternoon. Greg Burns, high point man for Syracuse. He's got 4 goals, 3 assists. Maricek over to Egan. Fans on the bid. Goes for the check. Free ball scooped up by the Tar Heels' Brian Kelly, junior defenseman out of Calvert Hall High School in Baltimore. Mike Acey, nice dodge, and sticked aside by Palem. Rebound, score. That's Steve Huff with his first goal this afternoon at 4 in the quarterfinals against Harvard. A rare moment of relief for the 12th-year mentor at North Carolina, Willie Scroggs. It's now 17-5 Syracuse.
Great play. Watch Acey start off. He gets a shot off. Palem makes it, but he doesn't get possession. Now the ball's out. Watch Huff pick it up. Palem's now out of position, and he comes right back and redirects it into the net. Carolina, heretofore, not getting very many of those loose balls. Here they get one again off Acey's shot. Huff comes powering through between 3 defensive players for Syracuse, and then close enough to rifle it by Palem. That's the same kind of shot that Piazza's been looking at all day long. Palem can't make that save any better than Piazza can. It's very unfair for that goalie to have to face that 18, 20 times like Piazza has.
Yeah, he joins a group of 11 other goaltenders that have had to face the Syracuse onslaught this year. Which the Orange last 3 years, the team in this sport, 40-1, and Gary Gate with another goal. That's the 5th goal this afternoon for the senior out of Brentwood Bay, British Columbia. Makes it look so very easy, Leaf.
You know what? He didn't score in the first quarter. He's done it all in 2 quarters of play. Unbelievable. And for Carolina, you wonder, where is everybody? You know he's got strength, Eric. You know you cannot play him stick on stick. Watch the here. You can't play him stick on stick. You got to knock him down. 3 players just wave at his stick, and he comes flying through. You've got to level the guy. He's a tight end size, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's strong. You'll bounce off him, and he's got the great stick skills. So Carolina just so confused that they're really not playing the game that they would like to against the great Gate brother combination.
Once again, Syracuse answering back just 11 seconds after the Steve Huff goal for North Carolina. Gary Gate comes storming back for Syracuse.
Carolina, though, known for good team defense year in and year out. It's kind of strange to watch them play and technically sort of fall apart at that end of the field.
Happened early this afternoon for North Carolina. Fell behind quickly 4-zip. Trailed it after 1 quarter 6-1. The Orange have never looked back. And North Carolina never been close. Closest they came was at 4-1. And Syracuse tacked on 2 more before the first quarter went into the books.
Well, a lot of coaches will tell you they just really have to slow the game down any way you can against Syracuse, because no matter how good you are, you've got to slow down their opportunities and not give them as many chances. They're so explosive. The fear was that Carolina wouldn't do it because that's the way they like to play. And Carolina didn't. They said, let's go ahead and run. We all like to run, and they took the brunt of it.
Tom Maricek with a behind-the-back goal. Goal number 4 for Maricek, the assist to Jim Egan. And that's his 3rd assist today. This has been a highlight film for Syracuse.
It's unbelievable. And here, poor Andy Piazza. A sensational year for him individually, but he'll remember this game. Here comes the replay. Maricek behind the back. Again, the Canadians, from the box experience, they can go behind the back with relative ease, something American players don't do. So consequently, the goalie doesn't look for it. You see Piazza come over, play his right hand, and that left the whole backhand side of the goal open.
Cuts down that all-important reaction time for the netminder. The Orange within 1 goal of their 9th 20-goal game this year. They lead at 19-5, 3 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Under foggy gray skies here in Piscataway, New Jersey. Light rain still falling.
Well, interesting statistics may be the story of the 4th quarter to keep our fans into this game. One of those, Eric, is that margin of victory. If they set the new record margin of victory, which is right now around 11 goals for Syracuse, they will be surpassing an old Syracuse mark of around 9 that was set in 1957 when Jim Brown, the great NFL player, played for Syracuse. Let's watch the takedown. There's
Robert Ozeki.
Ozeki coming in, just leveling him from behind.
Well, Zeke's a great athlete, also a Dean's List student at North Carolina from New York City. Went to the Milton Academy in Milton, Massachusetts. He's an outstanding specialist for North Carolina as a defensive midfielder, a position that has been phased down a little bit with the new rule changes, and they'll talk about how those rule changes have affected the game and helped the Syracuse team prosper during our 4th period. Here's Rodney Dumpson bouncing wide. The new rules, Leaf, have sped up the tempo of the game, and that's played right into the hands of Roy Simmons Jr. and his club.
Well, they almost call it the Syracuse rule because they knew that this is the kind of team that would benefit from it greatly. But I'll tell you who else benefits the whole lacrosse community, all the spectators, all you fans watching the game. It makes the game look a lot more like it was intended to look. That's a lot of transition, a lot of scoring. It was called the fastest game on 2 feet for years, but with those rules and the long sticks, it really took itself out of that transition. Now it's moving back to that fast end zone to end zone game.
Here's Jim Egan. No, don't want you folks at home to adjust your sets. It is a murky, rainy day, and our camera is bringing you an accurate description of what it looks like here at Rutgers Stadium this afternoon. Here's Craig Hasslinger. Nice move. Good pass to AC, and he is stuffed by Palem. Huge save by the senior from Syracuse.
Well, people talk about Palem, and they don't know how good he is. I think he's excellent, and that shows it right there. This guy has played a sensational game.
Denied AC right on the crease. Here's Egan, goes behind the back. Gary Gate for Paul. Dumpson lost it, and the Tar Heels get another chance. But they trail it 19-5 with 1:30 left, third quarter. Brooks Matthews doing a nice job advancing the ball for the Tar Heels.
You know, Eric, Palem has a 67% save average for the year. And we'll see if we get a comment here. Let's go ahead and pick up the action.
Jim Busick scores. Good timing, Leaf. Able to step aside as Jim Busick, the sophomore from Columbia, Maryland, lights it up for his 15th goal of the year. Goal number 6 for Carolina today. We get penalty markers flying left and right with 1:11 left in the third quarter.
Well, it's almost anticlimactic. I was going to talk about Palem's ability to stop, and my point was going to be that I think Palem, above anybody else in Division I lacrosse, has to make tougher saves because of his gambling defense. Look at this. Most of the shots come in from this range. Busick beats him on this one, but Palem is faced with a lot of shots, much like Piazza has been today, because his defense is gambling and they're aggressive, so that when they're beaten, usually the offensive player is right in his face. A good look at Palem right now. That one beat him 19-6. Boy, how does it feel when you score a nice goal in a semifinal game and you're still 13 goals down? It must be tough.
Yeah, we talked about Matt Palem's injury problem. Had to have arthroscopic surgery a few weeks ago, missed the better part of 4 games, and came back last week, or actually in the quarterfinals, had 16 saves against Brown. Got his wheels underneath him, and he has been very, very sharp this afternoon under tough weather conditions. The Orange have dominated. That's not a big surprise to a lot of lacrosse fans around the country. 40 wins, 1 loss the last 3 years. They bring a 25-game winning streak into the semifinal game and looking to win their 4th NCAA championship, their 3rd in 3 years. Been some kind of run up in central New York for this group.
Showtime for Syracuse now with just over 1 quarter left.
You mentioned, Lisa, you thought the fans would come out anyway just to see this outstanding group one last time.
No question. This is an unusual group. As you look at Egan, this is a very talented, a very special team. And I don't think any lacrosse fan is going to miss it no matter what the weather.
You know, you mentioned Jim Brown, great lacrosse player at Syracuse, was on the same team as the Syracuse coach, Roy Simmons Jr. They were midfield partners. They played for Roy's dad, Roy Simmons Sr., who coached for 40 years. That was Greg Burns going wide on the shot. Burns has hit more often than not with 4 goals and 3 assists this afternoon. Tommy Marichek with 3 goals and a couple of assists. Gary Gate hasn't disappointed. He's got 5 goals and an assist. But a quiet but effective game for Paul Gate, 1-1. There's Gary Gate with a scoop, and he is called for the ward-off. And a little extracurriculars.
Carolina getting a little upset there, pulling Gary Gate down. That's the 2nd goal that Gary Gate had taken away. He's got 5 on the board, Eric, but he's got 2 that went in that were taken away by the referees. One didn't really, they say he stepped in the crease. He did not on the replay we had. And this is called a warding off. Watch his offhand. See how he just pushes the player back? Very, very touchy call. That could go either way. A lot of times they won't make that call, but it looks like they're on their case today. Another sensational goal by Gary Gate, pulled back out. He still only has 5, and don't forget, he didn't score in the first quarter. That's all in 2 quarters of play.
5 could be 7, and just really amazing the velocity Gary Gate gets on every bid. 19-6, Syracuse leads it. We're through 3 quarters, back for the 4th here at Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway right after this. See Mike Acey's bid denied. A nice play by Pat McCabe slipping in behind the goaltender, Matt Palem. Eric Reed along with Leif Elsmo, 4th period of play here at Rutgers Stadium, and the top-ranked Orangemen defending their NCAA crown very impressively, leading 19-6 lead.
Well, they came in rewriting the record books, and they continue to do just that. Huff goes in there and beats Palem for a goal that makes it 7 for Carolina, brings it back to within 12, if you can believe that. Fairly inconsequential, I would guess, as Syracuse marches on their quest to rewrite the history of lacrosse. This is a very special team, loaded with very special talent. And just nobody, maybe a little bit of an off year also, Eric, and the rest of the high-quality teams, and the combination has just put them in another league. It's like an NFL team playing a good college squad.
Well, the Orange, the only team to hold North Carolina to fewer than 10 goals in a game this year. That came in their 14-9 win at the Carrier Dome on March 10th. They lead it now 19-7. By the way, that last goal by Steve Huff marks the first time in this ballgame that the Tar Heels have scored back-to-back goals. Funny, all year long, only one team drew first blood on Syracuse. That was North Carolina back in March. Webster's shot bounces wide.
When you think about this game, Eric, that was really the downfall right from the get-go. Carolina couldn't even hold on to the ball. They were totally disrattled. They came down, they couldn't catch, they couldn't throw, and before they even got in gear or could make some 2 or 3 pass series on offense, they were down by 4 or 5 goals.
Well, the Orange rung up 4 goals very quickly, led it 6-1 after 1, 13-3 at halftime. There's the shot there by Donnelly, smothered by Palem.
Palem looks very sharp in the goal. I found that stat I was talking about. The biggest blowout, 1977 semifinal game, Cornell 22, Navy 6. So it looks like this one might replace that one in the record books if it goes according to the first 3 quarters.
You've been using that record book like it was the Yellow Pages.
It's the only game in town right about now, 19-7.
By the way, Matt Palem with 20 saves in the ball game. Andy Piazza been a little less fortunate.
Piazza has had no help early on. He got behind so early. I'm sure he was dizzy in the first half of this game, but the defense was not giving him the support.
The story is, by the time he settled down, Leaf, this thing was pretty much a done deal.
All over. And Carolina, really, or Syracuse, really has had no problem doing what they want to do anytime they want to do it.
Joe Bonacci, nice pass inside. A backhanded shot stopped easily by Piazza. I think that was Andy Bolin that took that shot. It was Bolin. Here come the Tar Heels back. Jim Busick stopped by Palem. Rebound Busick, and another save for Palem.
And I'll tell you where Palem is exceptional as we look at the Carolina players. Absolutely exhausted trying to get the ball by him. He reads beautifully. He'll decide and read a player whether he's going high or low better than anybody I've ever seen. Now watch this. He'll decide off the player's shot whether to go high or low, and he goes right to the ball. Now he goes high, boom, makes that save. He does a beautiful job at that, and that is critical for a goalie to get in the right position to make the save.
Well, it takes a lot to be a great goaltender. Great courage and outstanding instincts. Palem shown us both this afternoon. Eric Serement controls, moves outside the box. Up the restraining line it goes to Serement. Actually, this is McNichol. He winds up, but comes out of it wide. 10:45 left, 4th quarter. 19-7, Syracuse.
Now, I'll tell you what, if I was Roy Simmons, I might be taking Palem out of the game right here. You've got a sloppy field, shot on Palem. You got a goalie who had arthroscopic surgery about a month ago. He's favoring that right knee a little bit, and he could really mess it up on this type of field. It's sloppy underneath. You know, get him out of the game, save him for the finals.
Roy Simmons Jr. has Lee Hine in his goaltending bullpen. Hine came through end of the regular season pretty well. And as Goldstein held by the Syracuse defense, count them, 4 penalty markers down.
Got hammered pretty good in there, and probably any number of slashes as they penetrated the outer shell of that defense. Here he goes, coming out of the game, just as I suggested. Simmons pulling out his #1 guy, and you can see him semi-limping off the field. And you want to save that leg. It's a terrible field out there for a guy who's favoring a knee. It's a terrible field for anybody. So let's get him back in the training room and get him in good shape for that championship game. Now the pressure on Lee Hine comes in fresh on a cold day. You can bet he's not very loose.
So Matt Palem will up his NCAA record to 8-0 as a goaltender. 39-2 his one-loss mark for his career, and he hands the baton to Lee Hine, a junior out of Relay, Maryland. Tar Heels with a man advantage here. That was funny. 4 penalty markers down.
Good shot of Palin right there on the sideline. Hats off to this kid. He is showing all the critics that he is a top-notch goalie.
By the way, this is a minute 30 man up. 2 penalties on Pat McCabe. You see Mike Acey's shot whistling wide. What a great afternoon for Matt Palin. Maybe underrated, but very rarely outplayed. A senior from DeWitt, New York.
They're showing Palin on the sideline again. A good shot from our sideline camera. They're going to re-wrap that leg. I would be very shocked if he came back in the game, but obviously they're being cautious. They'll probably put an ice bag on it and wrap over top of that.
Here steps in. Webster took his eye off it. Tar Heels still with the extra man.
Tar Heels have to focus on 1 goal at a time, even though they're way behind. They've got a fresh goalie and get him a good hard shot. He's not loose.
Nice save on the Joe Bedell shot. May have hit the pipe.
Looks like it deflected off of Hine, took the pipe and came back out.
20 seconds left in the extra man situation for North Carolina.
Fresh goalie like this, again, I'd get a good hard shot from out front. The guy does not have time to loosen up. He's not going to have that great reaction time. Make sure you get a good hard shot before the penalty's over, and they blow it.
And the interception by David Patain. This last year with knee surgery, one of the outstanding defensive middies in America. And he scores! Coast to coast for David Patain. That's his first goal of the year.
Tough to read off that defensive stick, and that was one of the only overhand bounce shots you'll see all day, Eric, because this ground will not take a bounce shot. It's real soft and squishy, but because of the length of his stick, he was able to get it higher. You see Piazza shaking his head. Watch, he'll come down and he'll shoot overhand, but he gets it high because it's defense stick. Hard to read by Piazza. He comes up real high, bounces it hard, and it goes over the shoulder and right under the pipe. Tough to read the defensive shot. Well selected.
Every defenseman's dream come true for Dave Patain. The Orange get their 20th goal. Well, David Patain with the big shot over Andy Piazza. That's got to be a great feeling for the defenseman out of Camillus, New York.
He's having a ball with that one. I tell you, the whole team celebrating, but give the defense credit because they deserve all the accolades that the Gates get each and every game, because this is a team from end zone to end zone, from goal to goal. They've got a great defense, and these guys show it right here when they come down to the offensive end of the field.
Orange lead it by 13 goals. 8-13 remaining in the 4th quarter. What has been a long afternoon for Willie Scroggs Tar Heels.
Never really got into the game. Right from the get-go, they just weren't here. Pretty much shell-shocked from the reputation of the defense.
Well, this is North Carolina's 2nd straight disappointment in the semifinal round. Last year, they lost to Johns Hopkins 10-6 in the semis. Hopkins went on to lose a 1-goal championship game with Syracuse. How disappointing is this for North Carolina, and how much does it detract from what was an outstanding regular season?
Well, I think it hurts a lot. You know, they're going to say all the normal stuff. Oh, it's okay. We've had a great season. We went on. But when you get embarrassed like this, it really takes a lot out of you. This team, there's the ice we talked about. We wrap up that knee on Palin to get him squared away. They'll ice that thing down and keep ice on it for most of today and then get him loosened up tomorrow. But he had a great day. He feels good. He'll be ready for the championship 2 days from now. But getting back to the Carolina team, a great season, yes. But this is a year that the team came together, played well at the end of the season. Nobody enjoys, nobody likes to remember a blowout like this. This team, Carolina, as you know, Eric, has some of the top talent from Maryland each and every year. They get these great recruits, so they are strong each and every year.
Willie Scroggs has done a great job building that program after his 6-year run as an assistant at his alma mater, Johns Hopkins. Here's a look at Willie. He's also an assistant athletic director at North Carolina. One of 5 coaches to have won the NCAA crown 3 times. His teams beat Hopkins in '81 and '82, defeated Virginia in 1986. They have not been back to the final game since the '86 championship victory.
You know, hopefully they'll throw this game out mentally and every other way, because you think about the game that got them here. They took Harvard to the cleaners and really shellacked them. So you can show that, you can see that on any given day, when the things aren't going right against the high-powered teams like the Carolina and especially like a Syracuse, you better be ready to play in all phases of the game.
Yeah, this is a Carolina team that won 56% of their faceoffs during the regular season. Best ever performance by a Willie Scroggs coach Carolina team, but their failure to win those early faceoffs really gave Syracuse the first period momentum, and they turned that right around.
It's a team without any big stars. Bresci's maybe their biggest star, and he's on the defensive end of the field, but no big offensive star.
Matt Moore, boy, nearly went all the way with it, but coughed it up.
And Eric, what I was going to say about the star syndrome is that against Syracuse, you really need some guy to come in here and take charge and lead your team, like the Gate brothers do for Syracuse, like John Reese does for Yale. And Yale has to go against a tough Loyola squad. Reese is the kind of guy that can bring his team up to another level. There's no one guy on the offense. There's a lot of good players, no one guy to follow on the Carolina team.
The Yale-Loyola game really ought to be something. Two teams making their first ever Final Four appearance. Of course, Carolina played very tough all year long. Two of their three losses, one-goal games. Lost to Virginia by a goal, lost to Loyola by a goal. The only other losses for this Carolina team, there we see a goal for North Carolina. That's Chip Mayer, the senior. And Mayer comes up with his second goal this afternoon, but means very little here with 5:28 to play. A 20-9 lead for Syracuse.
The cannon shooter out of Stony Brook. Watch him come in. Lee Hine now shorter than Palem, and he goes for that pipe, right under the pipe, burns it in there, and gets the 8th goal. Carolina, a lot of pride. They've had a sensational year, and they're going to go all the way with this one.
Orange lead by a dozen, counting the moments till an NCAA championship game bid. Back here in Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers Stadium with Leif Elsmo, Eric Reed. So glad you could be with us for this NCAA semifinal lacrosse playoff game. The winner, and that will be Syracuse, advances to the championship contest. The Orange will meet the winner of the Loyola-Yale game.
You talk about the Carolina team, Eric. This is a great season they've had for a team. We talk about no stars, but this is a team that Willie Scroggs has loved working with. The team is very unselfish. He's had no big problems ego-wise or any other-wise. They've gotten better as the season's gone on. And this is not the Carolina team that finished the regular season. This, for whatever reason, for whatever combination of reasons, they just came here out of sync, never got into the Carolina game plan, and ended up suffering because when you go to sleep for a little while against Syracuse, you find yourself down by a half a dozen goals.
Carolina has not been a good come-from-behind team this year. Matter of fact, all 12 of their wins saw them have the lead at half. They were 0-3 in games where they trailed at halftime. Stand-up situation for the Tar Heels. They trail it by a dozen, 20-8. Here's Chip Mayer winding up. Nice save by Lee Hine. Hine was 4-0 in the regular season. Was the goaltender in the victories against Cornell, Rutgers, Penn, and Dick Carver's University of Massachusetts Minutemen.
Well, when Palem went down, Hines stepped right in, did a sensational job. And this is a kid who didn't come out with a lot of credentials out of high school. Lee Hine really wasn't even a starter, I don't think, in high school. Came into this program and has really done a great job when needed. He'll remember those 4 games for the rest of his life, as he will this time he's being put in here at the semifinal.
Now, some of the numbers that'll stick in Willie Scroggs' craw tonight. 2 for 8 for his Tar Heels on the extra man. You know, something that's been important for North Carolina, their first quarter scoring, they've outscored the opposition 69-26 in the first quarter coming into this game, but outdone 6-1 in the opening period by Syracuse today.
That was the bizarre period. The fact that offense just looked totally out of sync, couldn't catch, couldn't throw, couldn't hold on to the ball, and that literally took them out of the game.
Good-looking field level view as you survey the action with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But a cakewalk for Syracuse. Into their 3rd straight NCAA title game. Could have easily been 4. Lost a close game in the semifinals a couple years back to Cornell. There's a nice-looking goal by Brooke Chase, the economical goal scorer. Came in with 10 goals in his last 12 shots. Has a couple of goals this afternoon. Time to do a little smiling, Mr. Simmons.
Kyle Roy's going to play everybody on the roster. He's giving these guys the reward they deserve. Watch Chase come in. Really play the defense tough. When he gets in front, just turns and fires. Now that's a shot that Piazza really is going to save 9 times out of 10. That one came right inside the pipe, and Roy Simmons with a 13-goal lead, thinking ahead to the championship.
Orange piling it on. Season high this year for Syracuse. If you were wondering, it's a team that has scored 20 goals 8 times during the season.
Their average is 20 goals.
Yeah, this is commonplace. They had 26 during the year against the Golden Panthers of Adelphi. Of course, you talk about a senior class. With this win, the senior class of Syracuse will now have a record of 50 wins and 5 losses.
Syracuse, one of the most special teams. Class act right here is the graphic. 49-5 in the last 4 years. Playoff record 8-1 at the Dome. They almost never lose. 27-1. But this is impressive today, Eric, because it shows that they can play in adverse conditions on a grass field. So it really doesn't matter where they play. This is a team loaded with talent.
Well, that's what they said coming in, although I'm sure the inclement weather put a doubt or two in some minds, but they didn't play like that. Of course, the Tar Heels, again, not capitalizing on their man-up opportunity. We come down to 3 minutes left in what has been one of the most one-sided semifinal games ever. And in a real sense, very disappointing. We thought this would be an outstanding contest between a team in North Carolina that had the talent and also the time to prepare. Willie Scruggs has to be a very disappointed man the way things have turned out on this soggy afternoon in New Jersey.
Yeah, we thought this would have all the makings of one of those great matchups. Carolina playing the best they have all year on a big roll, absolutely shellacking Harvard to get into this game, and never really got into it. Didn't have that fast track. Maybe they thought about the rain a little bit too much, but for whatever the reason, the offense just took them out of the game. And here's that last play again. Ooh, there's the knee. There's right of the screen down there, and that's the hit. Ooh, that's Bresci there. And here comes the hit, knocks Bresci down. This guy is their sensational first-team All-America defenseman. He took it full force.
Tough competitor, Joe Bresci was the MVP of the ACC tournament. Had a great career at North Carolina, and he's counting down the moments as a college lacrosse player. There's 2:45 left in the game and left in the season for North Carolina.
It's unfortunate, Eric, because I've seen Joe Bresci this year absolutely dominate a game. He did it against Virginia. He can do that. It's just today, on all facets, Carolina did not come to play. They didn't get their game together.
Another extra man session for North Carolina here with under 2.5 minutes left to play. Chip Mayer had a notion out to Joe Bedell, and he scores. Joe Bedell, who had just 1 goal last year as a freshman, he's got 2 today and 16 on the season. And it is now a 21-9 lead for Syracuse.
Bedell scores much like he did earlier on an extra man play. This is one of their plays coming out of a 1-3-2 setup where he'll just cut down, get that seam, and if he gets the pass, he'll redirect it toward the goal, and has done it very well today. Second goal of the game, both of those on extra man, both on the very same play.
Mike Acey with the assist, his first this afternoon.
You know what will make Carolina feel better?
No.
If the championship game is a bigger blowout, then they'll look all right. If the championship game is like a 30-5, then all of a sudden they're looking pretty tough, aren't they?
Will be a small consolation to those from Chapel Hill.
But they'll be forgotten. See, they won't be the big blowout.
Of course, the Tar Heels pride themselves on the blue skies of Chapel Hill. Have not fared well under the gray skies here in Piscataway, New Jersey. And the Orange, who play their games indoors, nothing seems to faze them. And Syracuse really draws well at the Carrier Dome. Central New York, one of the great areas of dominance in this sport, both on the college and high school level. Of course, Hobart winning another Division III championship. And Syracuse going to get to play for another here in 1990.
They had a great season. I think they drew almost 90,000, was it, for the season up there? Had about 17,000 for the Hopkins game. Tremendous following.
I remember when they used to play their games at Coyne Field. No more. Inside the dome they go. This is Mike Acey. He's just a sophomore. We were mentioning that young attack for North Carolina. Nice move by Mike Acey. Spun, took a hit, and still scored. Well, Acey's the one guy that's really acquitted himself very well for the Tar Heels this afternoon. He's got 3 goals and an assist.
There's the magic number of 10, too. They got over into the double digits, so Carolina again goes into double digits, but look at the 21 for Syracuse.
Mike Acey gets the unassisted.
Unbelievably, out of this game in the first quarter, or maybe not unbelievably, Syracuse, the team that everyone fears, just came out of the cannon like they were shot out of the cannon first quarter and scored in big bunches.
4 goals here in the 4th period for North Carolina to get to the 10-goal mark. Down to a minute 20 remaining in the game. Nice move by Hasslinger, and Lee Hine with a stop.
That definitely feels a little bit better. With 21-10, you get in the double digits, all of a sudden it's a much closer game than 21-9.
Just winding out time. That was big Bill Tully who took the rack check around the net. A couple of penalty markers down. Lee's interesting note, we just find out from the truck that Willie Scroggs, 12th year head coach at North Carolina, has just informed us that this will be his final game. He's retiring and will devote his duties to becoming an assistant athletic director, which he already has been at North Carolina. Very interesting. Very shocking. I'll tell you that right now. I had no idea. Here's a guy who has one of the premier programs in the country, and that's a shocker. If that's true, I haven't heard that from him directly, but we have to assume it's true. This is coming right from our producer who got the word from them. And we have this one, good authority. So anyway, this is very much of a shock. Here's a premier program, one of the best coaches in the game, and he's putting himself out the pasture for other things. Well, you can bet there'll be much Final Four chatter of who will be Willie Scroggs' successor at North Carolina. It'd be a great place to go. They're loaded with talent. They got great players down there, good commitments from recruits for next year. And Willie Scroggs ready to hang it up after a great tenure at North Carolina. 120 wins. Today will be his 37th loss. A winning percentage of up over 76%. And one of 5 coaches to have won it all 3 times. So Willie Scroggs leaves behind an impressive legacy at North Carolina. 10 seconds left in the ball game. A 21-10 Syracuse lead. You know, at the beginning of the game, they came out late. They were the latest team out. They weren't even on the field for the national anthem. Willie really had them in there for the last moment. He may have announced that at the time. There could have been a lot of emotional things that really got this team uptight. But uptight is what they were in the first quarter, for whatever the reasons, and that's what took them out of the game. Final seconds tick away in a game that was decided long ago. Syracuse will advance to the NCAA championship game. And on a field they are familiar with. Roy Simmons Jr. won his first national championship in 1983 here at Rutgers Stadium. He'll get a chance to win another on this same field here in 1990. Roy Simmons Jr. His club wins it 21-10, their 26th consecutive victory. Well, shouldn't be a surprise. This team is dominant. They have dominated for 3 years. We knew they had firepower to match anybody. Maybe the small surprises that Carolina, and I'm sure they were surprised by, took themselves out of the game in the first quarter.
Focus on why we're here. Monday. Do it with style. Let's go. Yeah, right here. 1, 2, 3.
And Roy Simmons Jr. telling his team, this is what we focused on. This is why we're here. Let's do it with style. He wants his team to congratulate and be classic, a class act with Carolina. Let's see if we can get Willie Scroggs. Now we're too far away. I guess there's no handheld down close to him to hear what Willie's saying. But emotional moment for Willie, I'm sure, Eric, if he's retiring. And that's the word, that he's retiring after this game. So his career as a lacrosse coach is over at Carolina. And he is Carolina lacrosse. We have to remind our fans of that. If you don't know the story, this man created the legacy of Carolina lacrosse, took them to the national championships, made them a powerhouse nationally, and now he is stepping down. Tough afternoon, ending a great career for Willie Scroggs. And you know, Roy Simmons Jr. said earlier in the week, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Not the case this afternoon. Early and often Syracuse, they win it 21-10. Matt Palem had a great day in goal. Gary Gate with 5 goals and an assist. Tommy Marichek had 3 goals and 2 assists. Greg Burns with 4 and 3. So the Orange really spread it around this afternoon. A team that has all the trademarks of, if not one of the greatest teams of all time in the sport of lacrosse. Very impressive this afternoon, winning their semifinal game with North Carolina. They advance to the national championship game.
Division I men's lacrosse tournament. From Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, it's the Ivy League champion Yale Eli's taking on the Greyhounds of Loyola College. Two teams making their first ever Final Four appearance and making it under the worst possible weather conditions. Cold, windy, and rainy all afternoon here at Rutgers. Good day.